I should screenshot him in the post. All right. The C list. Let's share this. Let's see what we got here. All right, here we go with the C list. Not the A list, not the B list, not the D list, but we got the C list. The C list this week, obviously, we're going to talk about the Thunderbolts. We had talked about a lot of the original team already, but that's not what the C list is about, obviously. So we're not going to be covering that book. We're also not going to be covering first appearance. We talked about it earlier, too. Zemo, that's him right there with the gun when he was Phoenix. They didn't name him yet. We're not going to talk about that book either. He's too A-list of a character. We're not either going to talk about when they actually brought him in his first appearance, or just because they're cheap. You know, I got 5 on it, $5 books. No, we're not going to talk about those either. Those aren't the requirements. But we're going to. Oh, you missed a lot. We got to the C list because you got killed. You got knocked off for a little bit.
I got kicked out. I thought you were frozen for a second. I'm sitting there talking and trying to fill time. I'm like, wait a second.
No, you definitely got the bump. You got the bump. Me. So I started to cover C list. Should we finish up with C list or should we go
ahead. Keep running with the C list.
Okay, so we're in C list.
No, wait. I was not thinking really hard.
There we go. I gotta get back into it. So what instead we're gonna cover is kind of the rest of the characters in the C list and talk about why we like them and everything else. So these are typically books that are like, we're gonna keep it around the $50 price range. It's gonna be their first appearances. There's gonna be certain things about them, but it's not the main characters. It's going to be like the Moonstones of it. It's not going to be the Barons. It's going to be this type of stuff. This one actually is a book you can, I mean, honestly, I know that it's like a twin for this with a stamp in it a lot of times, but you can still find this in like the 5 and under categories in a lot of these Captain American and the Falcon runs. It's Captain American 192. It's her first appearance. Now, this is going to be a little bit confusing because there was a Moonstone ahead of this, but the Sofin one, this is it. It's 192. It's not 191 or 190. It's this one. It's usually around $20 for this book in higher grade. You can get a pretty good grade for $20, but you can still find this. I mean, it gets passed over a lot. It's not it's not an app's not binging this book all the time or anything like that. Next up, really cool book. You got Beetle when he's really the Beetle. Also a cool Loki cover in it. A little bit more expensive than the other ones, but you also get him on the cover, and he's fighting the Human Torch.
It's a 12-cent. It's a 12-cent Strange Tale, so it's not going to be.
It is. It's not going to be. It's Strange Tales 123. But this is what I'm going to tell you. It's not a dollar book, but you could get a good mid grade, and I'm talking like 6-7 on the mid grade, under 40. And to be honest with you, this is what I do a lot of times. These are the ones where you want to buy them for raw. You want to get them for under 40. You want to talk them down. They got them ranked as 6. You want to be like, I think that's a 5. And these are the ones where like everybody's always like, that book just needs a press and a clean. Typically, these are the ones that need a press and a clean, and you'd be surprised at what you get out of it. But for mid-grade, for good mid-grade in Silver Age, in 12 cents, under $40 is kind of where we're looking at for this book. And to have Beetle, a character that's been around that long, has been in Strange Tales, just to get a pretty good copy. I mean, when we're talking 6s and 7s, but 6.5 in this era, you're getting like still a little bit of, darkening on the pages, but the covers don't have too many breaks on them. They're pretty clean, maybe some smudging.
Might get some chipping.
You might get a little chipping too, but definitely presentable books. Presentable books, and not books that are braille and falling apart. In really good shape. So there you go. That's Beetle. I don't know why I did under 40 mid-grade. I just thought that was kind of cool. I don't know. Maybe I'll change that a little bit. Next is by it's like a gas pump. Next is by Screaming Mimi, which is Melissa Gold. I see you had her in the other one. I have her in the wrestling outfit. I had to show the wrestling outfit for her.
I just think of Chevy Chase, Screaming Mimi, and then they put John Candy on the roller coaster with him.
So her first is Marvel's 2-in-1, The Thing in Deathlock. That's a hot book that everybody's looking for. Deathlock, I do think dies in this book. Really, I mean, great shape. You could get it for 20, but realistically, you could get this book for $5 in pretty darn good shape. All right, like just do some research and find it in cons. You can find this. Sometimes you can actually even get it.
This is like one of those things you'll find out at like a flea market where they'll have like 10 copies of it because it's just like stacks of Bronze Age, just like back stock that somebody found in a storage locker.
Right.
Like that's the kind of thing where you'll find a book like this.
By the way, it's also her first cover. If you could see next to Deathlock, she's wrestling in the match. So there you go.
Oh.
Yeah. Did you see that? Sorry. I should.
Yeah, I
right
did.
There.
I
Yeah,
did.
that's her. Yeah. There you go.
I
All
thought
right.
that was Pressure Creel. Or that's the name. Yeah.
Next up, we've got Strange Tales 141. A crazy Nick Fury cover, which is great. And this is the Fixer, who then becomes Techno. This is another 2020. I mean, you get in this 2020 like this thing, but this thing is interesting about these Strange Tales ones. As much as I say 2020 is where kind of like the prices, we want to be under that, right? So we're looking at this at like the $12 to $15 range for a good copy of this book, especially if you're going to be doing it at shows, which is kind of what this is about. But I just wanted to give you guys, once again, this is what it looks like. You guys see this one around there. As long as you're not spending over 20, you're doing pretty good on this book.
It's a different mentality and a different collecting idea. Like you're not. This isn't modern day. This isn't moderns where you're getting 9/8 off the shelf. Like you definitely have to look at condition more and really work on price. Like
and open it up. By the way, going back here, do note that this has a Marvel stamp in it. It has Rawhide Kid in this Captain America, and the worst possible stamp you could have.
You do worse than Rawhide Kid.
I don't know. There's not many that are worse.
Not many, but you can.
So make sure you're checking it for that. You know what I mean? And a lot of these do have jewelers in them too. So, you know. Now the next three. The first one is Power Man. That is Atlas and Goliath. It's his first one. Obviously, it's a 12 center. It's not a tiny book, but a little $50. $50, you could get a really good copy of this. It's not a hugely. I mean, for being an Avenger 12-cent book, it's not that expensive of a book.
Where did you get that Conehead currency?
This is off of a TV show called Less Something. It's like it was a YouTube show, and then
okay, I got
you. An Australian-based show, and a guy goes, "I'll give you $1," and then he goes, "How about $50? $50." It's like an alien that gets kicked out, and his brother's his arch. Long story. That we're not gonna get into. Next is that's the Avengers 21 is when he's first Power Man. Next we got Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man. That huge seller. Now I'm gonna give you the high end of this one right here. The high end is I'll buy that for $1 because you could definitely get this book. Number 49 for Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. I'll buy that for $1. You can definitely get that for $1. That's not hard to get for $1. That's the first time he is the smuggler.
The smuggler.
It says it on the cover too, guys. So if you guys are looking for this book, you can get it. It says that's an easy way to remember. I mean, actually, the one good thing about a lot of his first name appearances and time appearances is Power Man. It says it, introducing Power Man, and the other one is The Smuggler is written in red print. So hopefully you can get it. I think there's a jewelers of that one. And the last one that you might want to collect if you want to collect the whole set of his first renaming appearances is probably the Goliath. When they name him the Goliath is Iron Man Annual number 7, and it's below $5. This is another I was gonna say I'd buy it for $1, but it's really a $2 book maybe. So you can get it for $1. You can still get in good condition for pretty cheap. And by the way, who's digging through Iron Man annuals? To be honest with you.
Not many people.
Not many.
I can't think of any. Are there any good Iron Man annuals?
Not that I can think of. This one, probably a good one. That's a decent one. Whatever, for $1. I mean, it's priced.
I'm talking about you dig through the Avengers annuals because you're looking for first Rogue. You dig through the Fantastic Four annuals because you're looking for an Annihilus or something.
Right.
I can't think of a Iron Man one. Get that Iron Man annual.
Right. Well, now you do. If you get it for $1, by the way, price of the book when it first came out, $1. So if you can get it for under $5, you're doing pretty good.
Get it for cover.
Yeah, get it for cover. Try to talk it down for cover. Get it thrown in either way. Next up, I just wanted to add this because the Jester was definitely the knockoff Joker. It's not that good, but he shows up a ton. Jonathan Powers has been around for a long time. And to be honest with you, how Daredevil, no matter if their show does good or whatever, these books like the 50 under 50, dude, they're crazy what you can get for Daredevil runs. Just so you know, Daredevil 42 is still his first appearance. And what would you think a good book in here would be? The high end for this book, by the way, I'm giving you a high end price for this book, raw.
This one I would have guessed. I would have guessed just on that 20 twin
Yeah,
range.
you see a lot of it. 50 is probably like the highest end. You're gonna get this for a high end raw copy of this, which is up because it's not. It usually is like 12 instead of 20 But yeah, we're buying at 20 I think all day at 20 for high grades of this. But 50, if it gets up to 50, you gotta start chewing your knuckles and make a deal because that's a little bit high. But I mean, that's market. It is what it is. Next up and last up, because I told you, as we saw in the list, that I do really like this character. I think it's S tier, even though other people don't. Surprisingly, for how much play this character's gotten and how many times they reimagine him and do everything else, Robert Baldwin as Speedball, his first appearance is in the supersized annual, The Amazing Spider-Man 64. And maybe it's because people don't dig through this. I mean, it's a Spider-Man and a Daredevil cover. And it's his first. And I give it a 10 because
give it a 10.
Usually you can get for $10 or less. I mean, you can get this book for less than $10. I bought this book for $2 before, and in good shape. It's a bigger book. It's 64 pages, so just know that. But you could definitely get it for under $10. And then Frontline is the first time he's Penance. Frontline number 10, and that's I'll buy that for $1, and I do buy that book for $1 a lot. Yeah. Yep. So there you go. That's the C-list. C-list. Some of these are C-list prices, and some of them are just C-list characters. I definitely think they're C-list characters a lot, but that's it. Speaking of that, I'd already said this. I'm going to Gem City this weekend. I am leaving on Friday. I'll be in that lovely state of Ohio in Friday through Sunday. But stop by it there. If you do, go see my friend Brad. Hey, Brad's Comics and Collectibles. You'll see him there. This is what it looks like. Tell him Marco sent you. Say hi. He does a good job with his books. Well, if you can't see him there, go over there and see him at Brad's Collectibles on Facebook and go look at his store. I will be spending some time with Brad. He's a good friend of mine, and he will be at Gem City too. So that is the cover of the C list. I'm going to stop sharing that, and I guess we can get back to our tier list now at this point.